What's up, viewers? Welcome back to another episode of Building Anaxes in LEGO. After a week break, we are back here with one of arguably the most important and probably the most exciting update we actually have had yet. Guys, welcome back to week number 6 of Building Anaxes. So if you guys are unfamiliar with the series, basically I'm building a huge Clone Wars mock from the new upcoming Clone Wars season. So if you guys are brand new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing throughout the video. And before we go and get any further, of course, I do want to give a huge thank you to our 2 series sponsors. Number 1 is going to be Brick Stuff. They make incredible custom light up products for your own LEGO designs, some of which you guys have already seen and you will be seeing very soon. Now be sure to go ahead and use coupon code TBW10 in your checkout on brickstuff.com to save some money. Guys, Rob makes absolutely amazing stuff. Go check him out, link down below in the description. Our second sponsor for Building Anaxes here on the channel is going to be Minifigs for You. You guys know David Solid Brick Studios, his own custom minifig company. He has graciously supplied the Bad Batch and will even be supplying a couple more figures in the future. You guys can find links to both Brick Stuff and Minifigs for You down below in the description. So previously I said that this video is probably going to be the most exciting Anaxes update yet, and I'm sure you guys know what the progress is, obviously if you read the title. But today we are going to be talking about a very special thing that we have built. I spent a considerable amount of time building this bad boy, and this is going to be the main focus of today, talking about the build process, what it's going to be doing, how this is going to impact the future of the build series. So it's going to be very important. I'll go ahead and set that down briefly. I do want to give a huge thank you to 2 people. Number 1 is going to be David Buchholz. He is the designer of this gunship, so you guys can check out his Flickr link down below in the description. And last but not least, a huge thank you to Brick Vault for actually letting David supply me with the instructions and the parts list to build the gunship. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out the gunship that I will be talking about today, you can visit brickvault.toys down below in the description to go ahead and check them out. You guys can find amazing instructions for custom models and kits. The gunship is just one of dozens and dozens of custom models, so go ahead and check them out. So now this week I was really only able to build the gunship. A couple of things popped up this week. I'll actually be gone Saturday, which is usually a day I'd actually spend filming and editing, but since I'll be gone Saturday, which is by the time you guys are seeing this video, or at least when it's uploaded, I actually have already been gone, so I'm filming this Friday. I didn't have the extra day. If I did, I probably would have started to work on maybe like the helipad or something like that for where the gunship is going to go, but nonetheless we just had enough time to work on the gunship. Now throughout today's video and throughout today's episode, I will be talking about the gunship, how it affects the build series, how the process was. However, it is really important that you guys know I will be doing my own separate review of the gunship coming later on next coming week, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But first and foremost, let's cut the chatter and let's go ahead and jump onto some time-lapse footage of me building the gunship. Alrighty, so as you guys know, I'm trying to do a lot more time lapses included in these segments. I think lots of people enjoy seeing the progress of me building. So this is actually time lapse footage of a live stream I was on earlier this week on Wednesday night. I was joined by my friend Matt Bricktail Studio. You can check him out down below in the description with the link. We were building the gunship, or at least I was building the gunship, and I thought it'd be maybe about 1 or 2 hours on stream, and it quickly turned into a 4-hour and 40-minute stream, nearly 5 hours of streaming nonstop. But nonetheless, I was able to get the gunship completed. There were a couple of hiccups with Bricklink orders and other things like that not really coming in full, which kind of sucked. I had to replace some parts, which I will sort of digress later in the review of the gunship when that video does come out. But overall, the gunship build is amazing. I cannot say how much, I cannot express how much I'm absolutely in love with this design. There's so many cool features that we will get into today that I think are really going to benefit Anaxes and just adding a whole nother level of dimension and just dynamics to the mock itself. Again, if this wasn't already made clear enough, this is not my design for the gunship. You guys can check out David Buchholz and Brick Vault down below in the description. Again, almost 5 hours of lapsed time building this gunship. It was a super fun time live streaming here on YouTube. If you guys aren't already subscribed and don't have that bell icon clicked, I really strongly suggest you guys do that. Building these streams and having fun with you guys in chat is honestly one of the greatest things about the channel. I had an incredible time building this thing alongside you guys for all you to witness, and of course you get to see the progress early, so that is a huge plus. But anyways, that's for the time lapse. Let's go ahead and jump on into the actual content for today's video. So I actually wanted to start off this part of the segment giving you guys an overview as to what we have accomplished so far. I know we've been spotty with content in the past couple of weeks, especially with Anaxes, but I want to give you guys an overhead view as to what has been completed already. So about 5 weeks of progress has led up to everything we see here in the front. That's including both corner walls, both towers, the beginning of the Snot Road right there, and then we have obviously that front terrain, which is going to be probably finished sometime towards the end of the actual series. So now in my opinion, I think this is actually a lot of stuff done, but you can see we have a lot more to go through. So again, I just wanted to start off this segment by letting you guys know what we have done so far. Now we can actually finally move on to the main part of today's video, and that's going to be covering the gunship. Now, like I said before, there are going to be reviews of this gunship coming out very, very soon next week, so I won't dive too much in depth, but instead I'm going to be talking about how the gunship basically relates to what we will be doing with the mock and how it's going to basically add a couple other things. Right, so to start off talking about this gunship, I wanted to set the camera on a tripod and really just sort of explain to you the build process, sort of take into account how everything was built. Obviously, like I said, I'll be doing it my own review of this sometime very, very soon, so I won't jump too in-depth. But I basically wanted to point out the features, I guess, that sort of drew me to this design. I know not everyone loves this design. Obviously, I disagree with that in terms of my own personal beliefs of this design, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the build. Again, it took about 4-ish hours, maybe, if I was off stream, but because I was live streaming, having to check up with chat, obviously having to go to my parts collection and figure out stuff, it took a little bit closer to 5 hours. So for around a 1,300, 1,500 part build, it definitely took a lot longer than I would think, but that's also because obviously it's my first time. It's a custom model, so not all the techniques are going to be normal, I guess, in terms of a Lego build. But a couple of things to really quickly feature. Obviously, we have the 2 cockpit pieces right here that can hold people. Now, I will explain a little bit more about this, but of course, these are just random Phase 2 clones. Now, I am going to work on getting some actual pilots for the gunship. Those are going to be coming in, hopefully, within the next week or so, but it's got a really nice control panel. The seats are actually really, really cool. One of my favorite parts of the gunship has to definitely be the front. I think the way that the front was designed, especially combining that like lime green tile and slope stuff like that, I think it just looks super cool. Again, we have the 2 turrets on the front here. Now what is super unique about this design, and probably one of the biggest reasons why I was drawn to it, is actually going to be the custom ability about the side turrets. So now, as a lot of you guys know, in the gunship in episode 2 from the Star Wars prequel trilogy on Geonosis, the gunships actually have these side turrets. And now what's great about this model is it comes with the interchangeability to actually swap with the lights here or the actual turret. Basically all it does is connect by a little axle in there. So each of these pieces have a little bit of like an axle brick or axle piece that you can connect an axle into. So it's really, really simple to actually swap out these side turrets. It's really, really easy. So that is one of the great things I loved about it. Again, it's that custom ability. It's the ability to really just sort of make your own gunship, I guess, if that makes sense. It just has a lot more options. So for example, if I'm doing World of Lights and maybe I want to hook up some lights into these actual little things right here, I could put that on whenever the lights are shut off in the convention hall. I could put some lights on the gunship lights right here. That would look super cool. And then obviously during the day, if I'm having them mobilized, something like that, I could just swap it out with this guy. So that is one of the greatest features about this set. Now moving on forward here, we do have the doors. Now the doors are a little bit finicky. They're pretty loose, but honestly, they are a really easy way of doing it. Now, the only thing that is worth noting is that if you have these side turrets on, it's a little bit difficult to actually move these doors, I guess you can kind of say, but just for sake of the video, I'll take that off just to show you guys the full range of it. So there's the doors again. Reveals about 6 or 7 troops inside. Now, if you wanted to fly with the doors open, you could probably fit about 16 troops in here, which is pretty crazy. But again, just to give you guys a little bit of a better angle as to who's in there, we got some Phase 2 guys in there. But that's really cool. The doors are super, super simple to use. Again, I will go over that more in my review coming later on this week. Switching towards the back side of the gunship, one of the greatest things I think is definitely got to be the little turret right here. This thing is on like a little ball hinge brick, and it can basically just move however you like it. It actually came loose by accidentally. I kind of dropped it before. And then we also do have a little bit of a ramp here. It's a little hard to open, so what I like to do is just open the side door, and I can plop that down like that. So that's kind of cool if you want to have the troopers coming out in the back, and then again, the other side is going to be pretty much exactly the same. So this gunship is super nice. The design is awesome. The combinations of detail in white is just phenomenal, and I cannot wait to build another one. And again, one of the best things for me when it came to deciding on this design was actually going to be its compactness. I like the smaller aspect and design of it, and obviously having those side turrets is really, really cool. And I guess I'll just also quickly show you what it looks like with the actual gun on it. So what you would do is basically connect this. You'd actually have to take the hinge off right here. You have to put the barrel back in the spot right here, but first you have to connect the axle to the side, put the barrel on it like so, and then again, like I said, it can just sort of easily swap out with the turret right there. So if you wanted to go for an attack mode gunship, that is what it would look like with that on the side. So lots of cool customability. I love this model. Again, a full review coming of this guy later on next week, but now let's talk a little bit about how this sort of changes the game, how it impacts the mock build process right now. So now with that out of the way, we can actually talk a little bit about the scale of this gunship and how it pertains to the overall Anaxes mock. Obviously, we still have lots to discuss, but the main point of building the gunship so early on in this series was actually so that I can get a good sense of scale. I wanted to see how big the gunship was. I wanted to see how it would relate or scale to the entire mock, especially with the wall and the tower and other aspects like that. So first off, you can see that the gunship is basically a gray base plate in length and width. I mean, obviously, the wings go a little out, so it's not really too big of a deal, but that's important to know because I need to know how large to make the actual helipad. So, with that being said, I'll actually move this base plate to where ideally I'd want the helipad to be. So again, we have the med bay or whatever sort of building here. Now, the plan was to actually have a smaller building back here, but I don't think that's going to be possible with the gunship. So here I have a rough area of where that other corner wall would be. So this is obviously where the wall would stop. So I basically have anywhere between here and here to work with, because again, that building's going to probably be about this large right here. So now I have from here to there to work with, and that's roughly about a base plate or 2 base plates in length. So that being said, I'm thinking the 2 helipads are probably just going to have to go right up against the wall. So again, just to give you a sense of scale, I'll move the gunship. And I'm assuming that is the area in which that gunship is going to be. So I'll come back over here. Again, the idea is to have the 2 barracks. We're going to have a shield generator there. And then we're going to have, obviously, the corner wall. But in here, we're going to have that med bay. And we're going to have that building going basically from here to there. And then the idea is, previously, I'd have another building and then 2 landing pads. But I don't think that's going to happen. So what we're going to now do is just have a large medical bay right here. And then we're going to have the 2 gunships side to side right here. So again, this is why it's super important to get that sense of scale done very, very early in the mock, because let's be honest, if I didn't build that gunship, I'd basically just be building the buildings and I'd be stuck with a huge problem of not having enough room for these 2 gunships side by side. Again, remember, it's going to be 2 gunships, one here and one here. So you can imagine it's probably going to go about to here. So I guess I'll just put the turret right there. So that means we have between there and there for the 2 gunships, maybe a little more. I'll be gracious with the space. And then that also means we have between here and here for a medical bay or something like that. And I think that's plenty of room, which is also good. Now, the only thing is, that does get rid of a pretty integral part of the mock. Remember, I was supposed to build this sort of cafeteria hall, which now I don't know if there's going to be enough room for, because we have the medical bay here, then we have the 2 barracks, and then we have the shield generator on there. So I don't know what we're going to be doing. I still want to include something like that, maybe in the interior of the mountain when that's eventually up in the caves and in that command and control center. I could put it there maybe even in like a comms room. We can have more guys there, something like that. But so that's really just why it's really important to get a sense of scale. Again, this gunship is nice. I love it. I love it to death. But it's really important to get a sense of scale, so that way we can have 2 gunships here. We can know how much room we have to work with here on out. So that's sort of why we got this gunship so early. Again, if you guys remember earlier on in the series, I kind of said that I wouldn't really be getting the gunship until later on, but I wanted to make sure I was scaling everything correctly. Now, another reason why this gunship is so important now, not only because it helps to scale with the helipads and the landing pads and the medical bay, but it also helps to scale with the roads. So you can see right here, I actually haven't said anything yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to be expanding this 2 or 3 bricks on each side. I think the AZTE is about 13 inches wide, and this is a little under. So I'm definitely going to have to expand that. But you can see this is a clear shot all the way to where the gunship would be. So if you can imagine, the snot pathway would basically be continuing this entire way and then cutting off over there. So also that helps a lot, especially with the snot and just sort of organizing the road and everything like that. So again, even though the only progress in terms of a physical build was the gunship, don't let that deter the amount of importance that this has right here. We are finally able to start really doing some permanent changes to the mock, making some permanent, I guess, additions to the mock, which will definitely stick around. So again, gunship super, super important. And guys, come on, let's just take a second to admire this boy. I mean, I went through a couple of the features already, but damn, this thing looks so good. I'm so happy. I will be building at least another one. The idea, again, like I said before, have 2 of them side by side on the landing pad. I would love to have one flying somewhere above the ATT, something like that. Maybe even coming into the mountain or something like that, but that's going to be a last minute decision. That's not really too important right now. Again, getting this built, getting this ready for showcase, and getting it so that I can actually start comparing it with other areas of the mock is really, really important. So that's going to wrap up this part of the video. I hope you all enjoyed, and let's go ahead and jump to the outro of week 6 of building Anaxes. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap up building Anaxes in LEGO week number 6. I hope you all enjoyed. This is by far one of the best segments, or if not the best, most exciting segment we've had since the beginning, and that's only going to get better. I'll talk a little bit about what the idea for next week is, but I hope you guys like the gunship. Again, if you do, if this wasn't already made explicitly clear, this is not my design. Again, check out David Buchholz and Brick Vault down below in the description if you want to go ahead and copy these instructions. I think with everything said, with me explaining how this gunship is going to really just add a whole new level of dimension and dynamic to the mock, I think it's going to be super fantastic. Obviously, getting to put all the minifigures in there, I'm going to be ordering some custom pilot minifigures. Now, it is also worth mentioning, I will be ordering some like custom pilots for the gunships, obviously, to keep that sort of accuracy going, I guess, if you will. So that will be coming very, very soon. So now comes the part of the segment where I'd like to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing in the future. Next week's episode should be the ATT. I hope I have all the parts. Again, like I said, Bricklink, there were some issues with getting parts from sellers for the gunship that caused a pretty big headache. I'm hoping that I have most of the parts for the ATTE on hand. I will be live streaming twice, building that thing throughout this upcoming week. So again, guys, if you're not already subscribed and you don't have that bell icon, please click those two. It's going to be super fun. You guys are not going to want to miss the upcoming segments and live streams. But the really big important thing about getting the ATTE built is so that we can properly scale the road. Again, one of the biggest mistakes I've made in the past other mocks is sort of creating the terrain before I have a general sense of size for the vehicle or whatever is basically contributing and growing on top of that terrain. I want to make sure that that problem is avoided, especially when creating this mock. So again, by the end of next week, if all goes as planned, if I have all the ATTE parts, I will be able to actually get it built, get it out for you guys to see, and most importantly, scale that middle road. That way we can work straight on the road, straight on the helipad, stuff like that, and really we can just start going really hard with the mock. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's segment. I hope you all enjoyed. If you guys are loving this gunship, please drop a like down below and check out David Buchholz on Flickr. He has some really great projects up and coming. I'm not going to say too much about it. David has informed me, and I also will keep my mouth shut. But basically, if you guys like the gunship and you guys like the ATT he's designed, you're going to want to stay tuned for some more stuff he's making, and maybe even some more stuff coming from my channel. So, with all that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful, beautiful Saturday. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.